Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the many things that you have to deal with after your loss? And I'm talking specifically about what to do with their belongings and when. Well, let's walk together and I'll share some ways to go from overwhelmed to organized and ready to take the next step forward on this very difficult part of your grief journey. Hey friend, welcome back to Grief Questions Answered. I'm Eric, and it's my goal with these videos to share everything I've learned about how to survive, find support in the loneliness of grief, and how to intentionally get back up and live beyond the loss of your loved one. If this grief tip doesn't help you today, I am confident it can and will help you at some point in the future, so be sure to save this video to watch later on. Today's question comes from Dawn, who asks, what am I supposed to do with their things? It's too much for me to deal with right now. So Dawn, I just want to start off by saying that if you don't have to do anything with their belongings right at this moment, then don't. Release that pressure from your shoulders and focus on what you need right now for your grief, because that's okay. And if you are at a place where you want to or need to do something with their belongings, then you'll definitely want to watch the rest of this video, because I'm going to share a simple sorting process to help you on this milestone of your grief journey. See, a few months after I lost Zoe, I remember asking myself the same question. What am I going to do with all of her things? I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, because at the same time, I was finding it hard to accept that Zoe wasn't ever coming back. And when it finally did sink in that she wasn't coming back, I shifted into another phase of my grief, accepting that I had to carry on without her, but what do I do with her things? Now, the thought of doing anything with her room made me sick to my stomach at that point. And then again, it was only a few months into this journey. But fortunately, I didn't have to make any decisions at that time. And it wasn't until 5 years later, when I was in the process of selling my house, that it became a forcing function for me. When I put the house on the market, I began to pack up all of the rooms, and Zoe's was the last room that I was going to touch. And as you can imagine, I was very reluctant to do anything with it. And when I walked into her bedroom that day, I realized that not much had changed in the previous 5 years. And so I sat in her bed, I looked around, I was trying to take in everything, the way it was set up and organized. I took pictures. I was just trying to preserve this moment. And then when I sat down in the middle of the room with the first empty box and that bubble wrap, I couldn't move. So I called a mentor of mine and I told her what I was dealing with. And she said, Eric, it's just stuff. And it's okay to deal with it the way you're dealing with it. So go easy on yourself as you figure out what you're going to do with her things. The right decision will come to you. And when she shared that with me, it really helped to ease my pain, because I knew I wasn't going to be throwing anything out. I was going to actually be holding on to these things and giving them to her siblings later on. And so all in all, it took about 2 days and a couple of boxes of tissues to get through the packing of her bedroom. And I actually found a couple of things that I thought were lost, like a couple of copper rings that she'd been wearing right before she died. I thought were gone. But as you can imagine, it was hard leading up to that process of cleaning out her room. And when I was done, I actually felt like I had some additional closure. And since that time, I have given all of her clothes to her older sister, who has been slowly donating some of them to thrift stores so that other teens can potentially benefit from Zoe's style. And this makes me smile, because I think Zoe would have wanted to do the same. She was always wanting to help other people out. And over the last few years, here's what I've learned. We can't take any of our possessions with us when we go anyway. And I know that if the situation was reversed and I wasn't here, I would want all of my things to be sorted and given away or donated to. And so in a minute, I'm going to share a way that you can do this as well. But maybe right now you're not wanting to wait that long to take care of your loved one's belongings. In fact, you may want to be doing this sooner, and that's okay too. Remember, there is no timeline for your grief and how you deal with certain aspects of it, especially this. So no matter when you choose to do something with their belongings, it's perfectly okay. This journey is not on anybody else's agenda but yours. And if you're stuck in this area, then we should talk. And so if you're at a place or a point on your journey of having to make a decision about what to do with their belongings, here are some suggestions to help you with this process. First, go through their belongings and sort out what you want to keep for yourself. Just put them aside. That's okay. Next, you want to decide if any friends or family are going to get any of their things, and then distribute to them on your timeline. And finally, donate to a worthy cause that will actually be paying this forward, or hold a garage sale and use the proceeds to take care of you in some way, because it's okay to do that too. And if you need help with this process, you may not have to do it alone. Ask your friends and family to help out if they can and if you want them to, but make it clear that you're the decision maker on what's going to happen with their things. And so, Dawn, this process of handling your loved one's belongings certainly can be overwhelming. But the good news is you don't have to make that decision today unless there is something forcing you to. And if you do have to make that decision, then take the time you need to get grounded on the decisions on where things are going to be going, and whatever makes sense for you and feels right for you in this process. It will help you in the healing, and it does provide some additional closure. So as always, I hope this helps. Do you have a question about grief that I can answer for you? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't done so yet, click that subscribe button down below, as this is the best way to get notified of new videos just like this and to show support for the channel. Let's walk together, and I'll see you in next week's video.